Welcome to the After Bedtime Podcast with your hosts, Mathew and Austin. We have started this podcast today. It's our inaugural episode 0. We had a episode -1, but we'll make it there in a few days. We'll finally post an episode 1, hopefully next week, unless there's an emergency podcast, which may or may not happen. But why don't you tell the folks at home what you do, Austin?
Well, I have another channel, Grumble Gamer 18. I do gaming, unboxing, and I like long walks on the beach. And I'm just here to shoot the shit, kind of, and talk about, I don't know, life.
That's it.
Yeah.
You that boring? No. And I'm Matthew. I had a channel, and then I promptly deleted it because I didn't feel like it was the right for me. But times change, and now I'm focusing on this podcast a lot more. We have a lot of ideas for this podcast, and hopefully they'll come to fruition into the next few days. So we have a few topics. We're keeping it a little old school, bringing in some notes in planning, which we did not do on the first episode at all. So it was completely rambly and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But so I guess we should probably talk about what this podcast is about and what the intentions are for this podcast, which is I used to do a lot of answering videos or question videos or whatever. I'd explain where I was, and I'd explain what's been going on in my life, but in what's been going on in the channel. So I figure this is a good place to migrate that, and with that, it's also a good place to have guests on and talk about serious issues or talk about fucking bullshit drama too.
Mm-hmm.
But
drama's always fun.
That's podcasting for me, and that's what I plan to do that with this podcast. Hopefully we'll get some pretty good guests on. We have some planned, some that we've already recorded, and
some that we're hoping on.
Yeah, some that we're hoping on. I'm also suffering from a cough right now, so if you hear me coughing in the background, you know why. Anyways, so who's on the podcast? Right now, it's going to be just me. It's just going to be me and Austin for now. We have some guests. We have some recurring guests, too, to try and come on this podcast and talk about shit with us. And we have some pretty good guests planned, actually. We've already recorded 2 episodes, but they're probably going to be lost episodes because we really didn't know what our footing was then. Now we kind of know what we want to do with this podcast, and But yeah, that's why we're making episode 0, so we can kind of explain some things. And so I guess the next question would be, when's the podcast? And that is hopefully every Thursday. Right now we're shooting for every Thursday. This will be posted on the 29th, hopefully. If not, then, well, hopefully it will be. And then maybe there's an emergency podcast we'll post during the week that isn't a Thursday. But there'll always be a Thursday episode, even if there's an episode prior. Or maybe, I don't know.
And
we don't know yet.
No filler.
No filler except this episode.
Yeah.
We'll try and keep it interesting for you guys.
I think this is more of an intro though, so this
is very much an intro.
It's intentional filler. It's not
shit,
we have last minute, we need to just kind of throw something in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where's the podcast? Is another good question. That Austin just asked me when we were on a break and you didn't hear. But we have a SoundCloud. We have a YouTube channel, which is going to be the main posting place. I don't foresee us going on iTunes anytime soon. But once we get our footing, we might post on iTunes. And I know there's an Android podcast section, and then there's a Windows Phone podcast section. But obviously nobody has a Windows phone and Android, you can check on YouTube. But yeah, we have a few other events planned. We plan to go live this weekend for New
Definitely.
Year's.
That'll be fun.
That's the game plan right now, unless something crazy happens, like weather is bad or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, we plan to go live this weekend. We'll post on the Twitter like times and dates and shit. But that will be more planned. I'll think after this podcast go up, I'll know more for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'll know like kind of what the weather's supposed to be like, right? Yeah, it's exciting.
If there's anyone you guys want to see on here that's actually, a possibility,
Yeah.
then I mean, send them our way or just comment below on what you think.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we can do. It works with a few things.
Yeah.
So.
We try and get some good people on, but mostly it's people that I know personally or people that like we beg and plead on the internet.
Yeah, or someone I've talked to at some point.
7-year-old kids. Oh, you want to be on our podcast? We don't even have an episode out yet, but we want to be on our podcast. And sometimes it works out, like you'll see later on. But sometimes it doesn't, obviously, because we know that we get like 14 views per video. So,
but I mean, you gotta start
it'll
somewhere.
pick up. Hopefully, you gotta start somewhere, and hopefully it'll pick up.
When I first started, I was at 2 subs. Now I'm at 114.
Yeah, he has. I don't know, Austin, but your channel's been growing like fast and quick. It's crazy. I've never seen it go like someone's channel grow that fast in like a short period. Because you're at like, what were you at last week before you got to 100?
I think I was at like 64.
Yeah, and then you got to like 114, right?
Yeah,
right
it's around there.
Jesus, even that's a little number still,
Yeah,
like in the grand scheme of things.
Definitely a little number for most people.
You doubled your subscribers in a week, which is
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's
Because you're
humbling.
sub-botting.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, it's very humbling. I mean, it's not like a huge, it's compared to most people, but I mean, I think it's nice.
It's still, yeah, very nice. It took me 2 years to get to I don't know what I was at, 46. So that's a little more embarrassing. But hopefully this podcast will go quicker, especially with guests we have planned. Anyways, so the future of this podcast is we want to do this weekly for a while. We might have to change this to monthly at one point or another, just because like people have schedules and we don't know where we're gonna be like a year from now. But we hopefully plan to have this out for at least a month.
Yeah.
But
I think we have a lot of good possibilities along the way.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, especially with guests, we can kind of, I don't know, like if we have guests on, it'll bring our visibility even up because basically like the ultimate collab channel.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Anything you want to add? I know I didn't talk about my channel, but
No worries. We talk about it in other ones, so most people will know. I think.
Yeah, this was. I think with my channel, when I closed it last time, I figured I wanted to have this almost like a stepping stone, like the next step in my YouTube career. But I think hopefully it goes good. Hopefully I'm not like sitting up in bed at night wondering what I'm doing with my life like the last channel I had. But yeah, I'm excited for what happens in the future. We've done this like very quickly, Yeah. I think last time we had questions in the second half, but like that was the last time.
Yeah, I think this is a good just starting point,
It's a good starting point. I mean, it's short, but
short and sweet.
I think so. I guess we can kind of talk about what we have planned right now, like for the next week or so. We're not gonna reveal any other big plans, like big plans,
Yeah.
because we have something big planned.
Yeah.
But we'll tell you something big. We have something big planned, and then we have something big planned.
Mm-hmm.
And so next week I'm either gonna post. I'm gonna post one of two episodes. One I can tell you, one I can't. But we had my musical person on, who's done music. They don't do music for me, but they let me use their music, and it was pretty good podcast, but it's really short. And I think that's another thing I should probably touch on, is that these podcasts vary in length all the time. So some episodes will be like 20 minutes, some will be 10, some will be 40. It just depends on the guest you have, and depends on like the people you have on too, because dynamics are different every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely different each time. I mean, even with the ones that we've recorded so far, we've seen that change here and there.
Mm-hmm. We had three episodes recorded, but that was because we had an episode 0. We have 2 right now, and I don't know how I feel about either of them right now. I like one more than the other, but I'd have to cut out so much, and it's almost like not worth it once you start cutting out a shit ton of things, because I like this to be raw and uncut, but obviously you have to cut out some things to help out like other things, right?
Definitely.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to cover?
I think we're off to a good start. I think we're pretty good, I think, for this episode, personally at least. I think we got a lot of it covered. And I mean, I'm looking forward to the few big things that are happening. We won't say much more just because it's...
Yeah. But we have some really good guests planned, like really good guests.
And you're probably thinking, Uncle Phil or the bus.
I got my uncle coming on, Uncle Bobby Joe, and no, we have some actual good guests coming on.
Yeah.
I know I said Chris, but like,
as long as these
he's the only one I want to reveal right now.
Yeah, the other ones, I think, once you guys see them in the videos, you'll be very surprised.
You'll be, I was surprised. we were talking about who we had on the podcast before this, and I was just like, really? We fucking got that person? See, I'm not even saying who it is.
It's hard not to, though.
It's really exciting to see where this is gonna go, and I think hopefully you guys are excited.
Yeah.
Just as we are.
But, I don't know about you, but did you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, might as well wrap it up. You can find us on SoundCloud right now, and you can find us on Twitter. Both places were the After Bedtime Podcast. And you can find us on our personal Twitters, which will be in the description always. And yeah, I hope you have a good night, or a day, or whatever time you're listening to this as. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.